Good evening. This is Primetime News on AYV Television and Radio 101.7 FM. I am Elizabeth Momo. First, the headlines.
ACC bans accounting officer at SLRA and accountants at the Accountant General's Department from holding public office in the country for a minimum of 3 years. Former Pprc chair sworn in as Justice of the Supreme Court.
Of the Office of the Judge of the Supreme Court.
Of the Republic of Sierra Leone.
Republic of Sierra Leone.
That will support.
That I will support.
Uphold. The Constitution of Sierra Leone as by law established.
The Constitution of Sierra Leone as by law established.
And Minister of Works and Public Assets says increment in toll charges is in accordance with the contract signed by government and the China Railway Savings Group in 2015.
In the contract that was signed in 2015 between CRSG and the then government, under 10.4, the 10.4 clause simply states that if the exchange rate changes by 10% over time, that should call for an automatic review of the toll gate charges.
Now for the full news.
Now, first in the news, the general public is hereby informed that Armed Forces Day will be observed on Sunday, 18th February 2024. Accordingly, Monday, 19th February will be a public holiday nationwide. Now, away from that, the Anti-Corruption Commission has in a press release informed the public that it has imposed 10% interest on the recovery of 4.6 million new loans from Emmanuel Smart, accounting officer at Sierra Leone Roads Authority SLRA, and Ibrahim Musa Bangura, accountant at the Accountant General's Department, and both are banned from holding public offices in Sierra Leone for a minimum of 3 years with immediate effect. Ronald Morovia reports.
In a release dated 16 February 2024, the Anti-Corruption Commission has informed the general public that pursuant to Section 7(1)(b) of the Anti-Corruption Commission Amendment Act of 2019, it has entered into a non-prosecution agreement with Emmanuel Smart, accounting officer at the Sierra Leone Roads Authority, and Ibrahim Musa Bangura, accountant at the Accountant General's Department, after recovering the total sum of 4,654,658 new loans from them in cash and a further 10% interest on the said sum, amounting to 465,465 new loans in full. It has also imposed a 3-year ban precluding them from holding public office in Sierra Leone with immediate effect. This follows the Commission's investigation into the matter involving a staff of SLRA and the Accountant General's Department, in which over 8,600,000 new loans meant as payments for the completion of the construction of the Kenema-Pendembu Highway was criminally diverted by them. The 4,654,658 new loans represent the total amount that Emmanuel Sandi and Ibrahim Musa Bangura withdrew from the banking system through the Kabbalah Community Bank, where they had diverted the funds and shared it before the remaining amount was blocked jointly by the Ministry of Finance and the ACC. Both were the two key culprits in the fraudulent and criminal scheme. They have paid the full amount misappropriated plus 10% interest, and as a result of this ban from holding any public office in Sierra Leone for a minimum of 3 years, pursuant to Section 7(1)(b) Roman figure 1 and 2 of the Anti-Corruption Commission Amendment Act 2019. Their respective offices will therefore be notified and must dismiss them from their respective public service posts immediately. Meanwhile, 5 other persons, Jacob T. Sise, Deputy Director of Budget, John Eli, Principal Accountant, Philip Yamba, Senior Accountant, Stanley Kome, Accountant, Joseph Johnson, Accountant, all of the Ministry of Finance and the Accountant General's Department respectively, in the matter have been referred to their respective institutions for further administrative disciplinary action for their respective roles in facilitating the crime or alleged benefits from it. The ACC thanked the Ministry of Finance for the referral and their full cooperation throughout the investigation. The Commission wishes to further assure the general public that it will not relent in ensuring that public funds and public revenues are protected and, where necessary, recovered in full as prescribed by law, with attendant strong consequences for the culprits. Ronald Morovia, AYV News, Freetown.
Now, Ambassador of Israel to Ghana, Sierra Leone and Liberia, Shomit Sofa, has urged Sierra Leone and other countries in the African continent not to take positions in the ongoing war of Israel against Hamas. He made this statement whilst addressing pressmen in Freetown. Here's the story.
We highly respect Sierra Leone's seat in the Council, and we follow, of course, very closely Sierra Leone's statements within the context of this conflict and Israel and Palestinians and the region. And what I would like to say to our friends in Sierra Leone is that at the end of the day, the relations between Israel and the Palestinians, it's not a zero-sum game. You don't have to be, if you want to be pro-Palestinian and support Palestinian cause, you don't have to be anti-Israel, and vice versa. You can help Israel. It doesn't mean that you are against Palestinians. For example, if there are all kinds of statements delivered or promoted by countries or entities that are hostile to Israel, we would like to see Sierra Leone take a nuanced position, a position that will take into account the many elements, the complex, extremely complex situation. And I'm happy to say that this is what we have seen with Sierra Leone's statements in the Security Council. We see that they are carefully crafted. They contain many elements that we are very pleased with. For example, condemnation of Hamas, supporting Israel's rights to live in security, calling for the immediate unconditional release of our hostages. And there are elements in the Sierra Leone statement that we do not like so much, but we understand that the position of Sierra Leone is very nuanced and carefully crafted. We appreciate the effort. This is what we ask our friends to take into account and take this kind of position where they know that they will do something that is helping Israel, helping the Palestinians. It's not a zero-sum game.
Now, former chairman of the Political Parties Regulation Commission, PPRC, Abdullahi Masiamba Bangura, has been sworn in today as Justice of the Supreme Court at State House before President Judas Maada Bio. Congratulating him for the new role, President Bio cautioned that the task on his shoulders is a weighty one and must be exercised judiciously, whilst emphasizing that justice delayed is justice denied. Sadvuchano Kamar witnessed the event and our reports.
Presenting the former chairman of PPRC, Abdullahi Masiamba Bangura, as Justice of the Supreme Court to President Bio, Secretary to the President, Dr. Julius Sandi, informed that Parliament approved Bangura's appointment on February 8, 2024. He further stated that, following the approval by Parliament, President Bio issued a warrant of appointment to Abdullahi Masiamba Bangura as Justice of the Supreme Court in the Republic of Sierra Leone, as provided by Section 135, Subsection 2 of the Constitution of Sierra Leone. Bangura took the oath of office before President Bio, the Chief Justice, and the other Supreme Court justices.
I, Abdullahi Masiamba Bangura,
do hereby in the name of Allah,
do hereby in the name of Allah,
swear that I will faithfully and truly
swear that I will faithfully and truly
discharge the duties of the office of Judge of the Supreme Court
discharge the duties of the office of the Judge of the Supreme
of
Court
the Republic of Sierra Leone,
Republic of Sierra Leone,
that I will support,
that I will support,
uphold the Constitution of Sierra Leone as by law established,
the Constitution of Sierra Leone as by law established,
and I will do right to all manner of people,
and I will do right to all manner of people,
obey the laws and usages of Sierra Leone,
obey the laws and usages of Sierra Leone,
without fear
without fear
or favor,
or favor, affection,
or ill will.
or ill will.
So help me Allah.
So help me Allah.
Justice Abdullahi Masiamba Bangura is grateful to President Bio for fulfilling his lifelong ambition. As one of the most pivotal arms of government, President Bio underscored the judiciary's responsibility in fostering an environment of trust and justice for all citizens, emphasizing the importance of impartiality in dispensing justice.
As I congratulate you, you have a very weighty task on your shoulder, and we hope that you and your colleagues will lead us in that direction. You are no stranger to it, and I will just add that as a developing nation, we need justice to be dispensed in time. As we all know, justice delayed is justice denied. And it is that arm of government that we all look forward to. And the criticality of that job cannot be re-emphasized. So as I welcome you, I also remind you of the task that you have ahead of you.
Salifu Charna Kamara, AYV News.
Now, the Minister of Works and Public Assets, Dr. Dennis Sandi, has said that the increment in toll charges is in accordance with the contract which was signed by the government of Sierra Leone and the China Railway 7th Group in 2015, which states that if the exchange rate increases by 10% over time, that should call for an automatic review of the toll gate charges. This, he said, had been long due in 2020 but is now being implemented because of unavoidable circumstances. Joseph Adumambu has more.
The recent increase in the toll charges has seen many dissatisfactory complaints from members of the public, including business people, drivers, and passengers. This, the Minister of Works, Dr. Sandi, says is as a result of the contract that was signed in 2015 by the government of Sierra Leone and the China Railway 7th Group, which indicates that charges should be reviewed if the exchange rate increases by 10% over time.
Contracts are contracts. There's a very important provision in the contract that was signed in 2015 between CRSG and the then government. Under 10.4, the 10.4 clause simply states that if the exchange rate changes by 10% over time, that should call for an automatic review of the toll gate charges. So because of what has happened in the exchange rate situation, the depreciation of the Leone, we have no alternative but to really have a consideration of the toll gate charges.
Fear runs through the minds of affected Sierra Leoneans of how much more these charges will keep increasing since the exchange rate in the country upsurges on a regular basis. Dr. Sandi, however, assures the public that even with that, these charges will not increase but hopefully remain so.
Well, I just want to assure the people of this country that as Minister of Works and Public Assets, this is going for me, the end negotiations for now on toll gate charges. So, well, we are not praying for that. Even if the Leone continue to depreciate, at a rate that probably will not be pleasant for all of us, that will not affect the increase that has been determined coming to implementation on March 1st. So take my word that there will be no more increases in toll gates, and we'll continue to talk to the Chinese to expand into other areas because they are thinking of actually constructing such a facility as far as the southeast and as far as the north and northwest. So it's a win-win situation, and let us continue to encourage the Chinese to do what it requires to move this country forward.
These charges will come to effect starting the 1st of March 2024. However, Sierra Leoneans look forward to further review on the charges as fear of hiking commodity prices swing in their minds. Joseph Adumambu, AYV News, Freetown.
Following the announcement of increased tollgate prices to come into effect on the 1st of March 2024, citizens grappling with the impending toll hike have raised concerns about its impact on the cost of living and transportation. Our reporter Isa Bangura put the story together.
Today I'm here at Hastings Tollgate, situated along the Wellington to Mashaka Toll Road. 7 years ago, the government of Sierra Leone, in collaboration with China Railway 7th Group, signed a contract for the construction and management of this vital toll road. In a recent development, there is a tollgate fee surge exceeding 100%. And I'm here looking into the impact of the significant hike in tollgate prices on livelihood and road users, set to take effect on the 1st of March 2024.
The list price I left for affect we because more the passenger than they suffer, because if they add price, at least we save, we go put, because for anywhere come now 20 millions in all funny for we. So for me also I not see say government need for add price, because toll gates and all get nothing than they do, and that 4 millions they have, let's say government will left and so for we.
When the toll gates price get for go up, we never get for get sufficient passenger. Some man get for the ignore, even if he force themselves, they can, because they can say they add the price. They don't see this is get for the stop grade. Well, once like governments, they are like minimize all the price. At least if not 2 millions, it will be manageable.
Yeah, the increasement of the toll gate, they affect with the trader the more. One, would they pay more? They go for the transport, for travel, for go buy the market. Then 2, the pikin themselves when they go to school, they go for strain because the lunch road they give them now is small. All man they see how the country things are difficult.
They affect people too much, because first of all, the drivers them, the toll gate when they get for pay. Now we the passenger, it get for affect. Also like me, when they when they in the city, we no get problem. Now for brothers them, sisters, mama they went in a Kainlaun, when they kenema. Any two they buy now 1 million, they get for buy double the price. So they beg the government, the president, they are making think for the masses them, for say people and they suffer.
Dr. Denis Sandy, the Minister of Works and Public Assets, in an interview on Wake Up Sierra Leone earlier, explained that the proposed increments in tollgate fees has been long overdue.
The clause stays under clause 10.4 that when the exchange rate varies over time by more than 10%, it calls automatically for a review of the existing toll gate charges.
Despite these explanations put forward, some citizens still call for better engagement with regards increase in toll gate fees. Usman Jallo is the Secretary General for Sierra Leone Petroleum Organization. He speaks more in this interview.
We as fuel transporters, we are surprised at that. I will call it proposed increment, right? So for us, right, I'm sure we should get to the drawing table and look at it. We've already, we are on the verge of preparing and sending our own position regards the whole situation, what we intend paying come March 1st.
With each passing vehicle, the roads bear witness to a nation on the brink of transformation as citizens brace themselves for the next chapter in their transportation saga. Issa Bangura, AYV News, Freetown.
Now away from that, the Freetown City Council have held a civic laying-out ceremony and the signing of the Book of Condolence for Councillor Rugetu Mansere. The late councillor served in different capacities in governance and the All People's Congress Party. Our reporter Sheikh Mohammed Sida has more.
The late Ms. Rugetu Ijatu Mansare was schooled at the Ahmadiyya Muslim Secondary School, Kisido Kiar, and went to the government Kiar Secondary School. Her passion for community development, she gained employment at the Ministry of Youth under a special program called NASMO, an auxiliary unit at the ministry responsible for community-driven programs. In early 2004, she went actively into politics under the All People's Congress Party. Her dedication and commitment made her won a slot as party agent, mobilizing and registering voters in the 2004 local government elections. She also served in various capacities. The mayor of Freetown expressed her sympathy to the family and explained the role the late councillor played during her lifetime.
Is that day was the beginning of a political relationship, which then very quickly turned into a genuine and lasting friendship. After the elections, Councillor Rugi and myself came to the Freetown City Council, and we were both newbies. She was a first-time councillor, I was a first-time mayor. we had a lot to learn. But Councillor Rugi had been in politics long before me, and her insights and her experience and her wisdom were things that she was quick to share. Councillor Rugi was dedicated to her community. You only need to walk with her along Soldier Street or 4th Street or Circular Road, and you would hear everybody, "Councillor, Councillor, Councillor, Councillor." She was loved and she was popular because she cared.
A family member also explained about the life of the late Councillor Rugiatu Ijatu Mansari.
Ijatu Mansari, whose remains is here situated, had an immense contribution to communities, the council, and in politics. It has pleased her worship, the mayor, councillor, and management of Freetown City Council to accord her remains here laying a befitting layout ceremony.
For me to question God, because Allah knows best. We as Muslims, we all believe that there's a time for a child to be born, and there's definitely a time for a child to leave that world. Not expecting the time to be now, not at all.
Sheikh Mohammed Sila, AYV News, Freetown.